Look what I got. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited. It looks like a pile of who knows what right now, but this is something I've wanted since I was a little kid. This is a Bobcat 909 backhoe attachment, the perfect size for my little 732. And I finally got one. It needs a bit of work, as you can tell, but I'm going to take you guys along here on getting it back into serviceable condition. So let's get started. We got it off the pallet, or part of it anyway. The stick is still detached. The thing was disassembled for shipping, and there's a couple little issues with it, but we're going to fix those. But I just got it mounted to my 732, and as you can see, it's a perfect fit. Okay, so I got it in the shop here because it's still kind of cold outside, and just having a look at it. First thing we're going to do is give it a good power wash here, and then we're going to take the cylinders off. Although I might take the cylinders off before I power wash it, not sure yet, we'll see. And then I got rebuild kits for the cylinders, and I don't know what kind of oil was in this machine before, and I don't want to contaminate the hydraulic system on my machine with God knows what's in there. So I'm going to take the cylinders apart and rebuild them. I have the kits for them, and that way I know for sure they won't leak anyway. The swing cylinder on this side here looks like it's got a bit of a weep to it too. So I'm going to take that apart and get new seals for it. The control valve is the big wild card here. When I bought it, the gentleman I bought it from told me that the control valve wouldn't take any oil. No matter what he did, he couldn't get any oil to go through it. So what I'm going to do is take it apart and go through it. Actually, probably what I'll do is just take it over to our machine shop, and they will take it apart and measure all new seals for it, because the seals are no longer available from Bobcat. And I don't know where else I would go for it, but the machine shop, they have all different sizes and shapes of seals, and they'll just measure up and put new ones on, take everything apart and clean it at the same time. And then the other thing I'm going to do is swap the boom and stick sections on the valve, because this thing has the backhoe control pattern, and I'm used to the excavator control pattern, and I'm going to change it as such. But for now, we're just going to pick all the big pieces of dirt and junk off of it, and then we'll take it outside. Hopefully it won't be too cold the next couple of days, and we can give it a good power wash. So I'm just going over the bucket cylinder here, and there's a bit of corrosion here on the chrome. I'm hoping I can just chuck that up in the lathe and polish it out, but if not, I'll have to get a new rod. Hopefully they're still available. But I'll give this a wash, and then I'll probably break the cylinder apart before I remove it here, just so it's easier to take apart, and we'll go from there. Well, there we go. Eric just spent about half an hour power washing this thing, and it came out reasonably clean. And underneath some of this crud and paint, we found this old sticker. It says Old Country Rentals on it. You can't really see it anymore because he power washed most of it off. But that explains a few things. This here has been welded, obviously, and so is the other side. And you know what they say, be gentle, it's a rental. I don't think too many people follow that rule. And so it's obviously lived a bit of a rougher life. Back in the day, before the excavator came into its own, the little compact excavators, this is what rental fleets usually had, because these things would go a lot of places, anywhere you could take your skid steer basically. And they made pretty good excavators. We actually rented one when I was a kid, and that's what really made me want one. But yeah, it's seen some abuse. There's a crack here that we're gonna have to fix. Another one here and another one there. So before I take it in to get sandblasted and painted, I'm going to address that. And before I take this cylinder off, I'm going to crack the head loose, because as you guys saw, there's a bunch of the chrome's damaged, and I wanted to reseal it anyway. But I decided I'm just going to replace this rod because it's pretty deeply pitted, and if I just put new seals in it and polish this up, it's not going to take long for it to tear the seals out. So I'm going to get a new one made, because unfortunately they're no longer available from Bobcat. But I'm going to try and get this apart tonight still, and maybe get it off to the machine shop so they can get started on making me a new rod, and hopefully it'll be done by the time this thing's sandblasted and painted. Okay, so I ended up taking the cylinder off because my pin wrench broke while trying to get the head off, and I don't want to go ahead and put a big pipe wrench on here and mar it all up, because this head's actually still in nice shape from what I can tell. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the whole thing over to the machine shop, and they have all the proper good quality tools and stuff they need to disassemble it, so that's where it's going to go. Don't you just hate it when technology has a mind of its own? I had a whole beautiful bunch of videos, well, at least I thought I did, of taking all this apart, and turns out the camera decided not to record any of it. So anyway, I got the cylinders out and all these tubes and whatnot, and I did loosen off the head of the boom cylinder, and I'm gonna hopefully be able to record that for you. And I brought it all outside to give it a power wash and give it a once over. So yeah, sorry guys, camera didn't work. I did have some what I thought would have been great footage, but such is life. I'm not about to put it all back together again just to take it apart again. Anyway, we'll give it a bath here and see how it turns out. All right, I thought I'd spare you guys all the details of me power washing it. I mean, it's just power washing, but now that it's clean, you can see a couple more battle scars. This is, at some point, it broke, and somebody welded it again up here on this king post, and over here as well. But they did a nice job, and they reinforced the boom down here as well. You can see these plates here on the side look like they've been something somebody added after the fact. They did a nice job, that's for sure. So this thing should be a whole lot tougher than it was factory, hopefully. I don't see any cracks or anything that haven't been welded on this part of the boom. So I'm gonna take it off the main frame and get it into the blasters to get sandblasted and painted. And I'll take that part there as well once I weld up the cracks, and hopefully the camera actually shows me doing that instead of deciding not to film again. So we'll see here, fingers crossed. So we got this crack here I'm gonna fix first, so I'm gonna grind it out and bring you guys back when I'm ready to weld. Okay, I've got that ground out. Let's give it a weld here. Got one more crack here where the bucket cylinder mounts. I'll fix that and I'll bring you guys back. Okay, so next I'm going to tear into the cylinder and rebuild them, or at least reseal it. Now there's so many videos out there on how to reseal cylinders, I don't need to go through it with you guys. If you guys do want me at some point, I have some more cylinders that need to be gone through, so just let me know in the comments and I will go through it. But for now, I'm just going to put this on time lapse and you guys can see it happen. Right, so I got the cylinder apart, and just have a look at this oil here. It is in pretty gross looking shape. Some of it's not bad, but it had water in it at some point, and if you look inside the barrel, there's all sorts of stuff in there. Now I'm glad I'm actually taking this apart and cleaning it, because this would have all gone through the hydraulic system on my machine. So in essence, if you get an attachment or something from somewhere that you don't know the history of, it's sort of like giving your machine an STD. And having a look at this piston here, it looks like there was water in it at one point. Now this isn't bad. I'm going to take this piston off anyway because I got to reseal the gland. I'll just chuck it up in the lathe and polish that off and get rid of all the rust. But yeah, I'm certainly glad I'm taking this step to take all these cylinders apart and resealing them, because all this oil here, I don't want that in my machine. Anyway, I'm going to carry on here. All right, got all the new seals installed. The piston cleaned up really nice. You can see there's still a bit of pitting on it, but for what we're doing, it'll be perfectly fine. There's no high spots or anything like that. So, and it's going back inside the cylinder. And there's all this here is nice and smooth, so we don't have to worry about it. Was able to use a genuine Bobcat seal kit. This was still available. And for interest's sake, those of you who are interested, the cylinder for the stick and the boom are identical, so you can just interchange them as needed, and I just bought 2 of the same seal kits. All right, I'm gonna go put it back together. And there it is, cylinders all back together, ready to go for sandblast and paint. So that'll probably be the end of this video here, because it's probably getting long enough as it is. And I will put it on the pallet with the rest of the boom and stuff. And then in the next video, we're gonna get into the main frame here. It's got a few things that need done, one of them being the control valve, and the swing cylinder needs to be resealed. Plus I'm also gonna pull the outrigger cylinders and go through them, because what I found in this cylinder here and the other ones, I don't want to have any kind of contamination in there that can get into my system. Now the guy I bought this machine from, or this attachment I should say from, he did warn me that it didn't work because there was something in there that prevented hydraulic fluid from going through. So I'm just going to play it safe, take everything apart, clean it all out, and in the end I'll have a very nice functioning backhoe attachment. So that's the end of this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye now.